racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Hello and welcome everybody to the SFRGT Challenge Round 6 here at Spa-Francorchamps. I'm Mike Nause in the booth, and we have a jam-packed grid here tonight. 16 drivers on the field, all going to be competing for the same piece of tarmac. Spa-Francorchamps, a track that is riddled in history, and obviously, I think one of my favorite tracks as well as a lot of other drivers out there. This is, as I said, round 6 of the championship, which means we are quite deep into it. And what is on the line here for this championship? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's $100 on the line in USD cash for the first place, and all podium finishers will receive a sponsorship to, or a key, excuse me, for the top-notch setup bundles from CDA. Big thank you to Coach Dave for sponsoring this, as well as SimStaff. SimStaff, of course, is a global powerhouse for the staffing solutions in the world of digital motorsports, sim racing, and esports. Whether your brand seeks short-term, freelance, professional, full-time contracted experts, or top-tier technical support, they've got you covered. So head on over to SimStaff if you're interested in any of that. As I said, though, I'm Mike Nause. Hope you're having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We can take a look at our standings here tonight. Looking at it, we have Vinicius Duzzi leading the championship by 1 point over Albert Trengisi. Albert Trengisi going to be looking to have a little bit better result than last time around. Of course, a P3 finish. Nothing to shake his stick at, but he needs a little bit more. Needs to beat Duzzi as the championship is coming closer and closer down to the wire. This is 8 rounds in this championship. So at round 6, we are, in fact, running out of time. Of course, Spa, it can give it, then it can take it away. We'll see tonight how that manages to unfold. But looking at the rest of the championship, of course, we have Joey Raymer in P3. 204 points, very tight top 3. Dropping down a little bit further, we have Jace Wright at 168 points compared to Devin Anthony at 141. Bit of a difference there between the mid-pack. A big fight, though, beyond that, with 133 from Anthony Camacho, Rocky Rocco, and Danny Madrano. Quite a good championship shakeup. And Vinicius Duzzi, who came in late to this championship, is leading. That is just a testament to the 12-year-old driver who has a load of support in chat. Big shout out to Diane Duzzi as well. I think Darnell and Sharkbait, welcome everyone here tonight. I hope you're having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We, like I said, take a look at these standings and a lovely track. We'll take a quick look at our calendar while we have a second as well. We can see we are here at Spa-Francorchamps. Up next will be Monza, the Cathedral of Speed, and 90 minutes over there. That will be quite the challenge for the drivers, no doubt. And, well, Word has it there might be a little weather, but we'll see, of course, come the time. However, why don't we head down, take a look at the, oops, wrong button, the drivers that are down in the field currently running around. Vinicius Duzzi going to be the driver out on track that we're taking a look at here first. As interesting, okay. Well, taking a look at it, we're working on the audio here, everyone. I'm not sure what has happened. But, of course, Vinicius Duzzi currently going to be coming around that track in P11, not quite up with a time on the board just yet. Looking at the timing charts here, we can, in fact, see our leader at a 2:16. Cunha de Silva, his teammate in the Spirit Onyx team, for some reason don't have the livery this time around. I'm not sure what that's about. While we work on the audio, I have no idea where the audio went, to be completely honest. Very strange. Well, while the guys in the truck work on that, I have no idea why it's not working. It's very odd. But regardless, I hope everyone's having a lovely morning. As I said, I can only do that so many times before I have to actually find out why the audio is not working, because everything is set up properly. Okay, we have figured it out somehow. That is odd. Nonetheless, we're back at it. We have some in-cave audio now. The guys in the truck have figured it out. Big shout out to them, of course, getting it right on time. Not stressful at all. Cunha de Silva, though, up at the top currently, 2:16.2. Very quick. We're going to be hopefully seeing the drivers into the 2:15s. That would be a bit optimistic, I think. 2:15.2, 2:16.2, though, it's very possible. Vinicius Duzzi not too far behind, and Albert Trengisi currently in the pits, 1.5 seconds behind. We are just here at the start of qualifying, so we will see plenty of time for these drivers to come around this track. However, there is one thing that is to be said. I know I mentioned plenty of time. I really shouldn't be saying that. There isn't plenty of time in this qualifying session. We're down to 7 minutes, and at 4.3 miles and just over a 2-minute lap time, you're only going to be looking at about 3 push laps maximum there at some of the stage where these drivers are in the track. So running out of time, but of course time will be a bit of a help in this race here coming up, as it will be a 75-minute race with 2 mandatory pit stops. Fuel is only required, tires are optional. However, in 75 minutes, I suspect we'll see at least one of those 2 pit stops where the drivers take tires. So, a bit of a spicy one. We'll see what the strategy entails for that. 2 pit stops around Spa. Definitely not necessary, but adding a bit of a variable in there tonight, really shaking things up. And 2:15s, wow, says Darnell. Yeah, I gotta say, these guys are pretty quick. Of course, the absolute alien Jardier and those guys sort of times that you're looking at are going to be around like the 2:15.2s, maybe 5s in that range. We're seeing currently Cunha just about 7 or 8 tenths off that pace, which is absolutely incredible. This pace from Silva is insane. He must absolutely love this track. I wish we had his livery, but unfortunately, I'm not sure why we don't. We have Vinicius. This is Vinicius, just the sister car. So use your imagination, folks, and just paint this livery onto this car. But we'll see. Maybe this livery will be on pole position here soon enough. That is entirely possible. Never count the young 12-year-old Vinicius out. I still cannot believe that I am saying that, but here we are in this day and age. It's absolutely incredible. But Cunha is on a flyer. Looking a bit behind, we have Joey Raymer, who is P2 in the championship, or P3 in that Nameless Racing. Currently sitting 7th quickest. Naro Flo, welcome Naro. Cheering on Vinicius as well. Let's go Doozy indeed. Got to cheer on the SOT driver, the fellow SOT driver as well. Cunha de Silva up there. Can't count them out. Fabiano Rousseau back into the cards as well. Had, I think, an off week last time around, but back behind the wheel of the SOT 296. Anthony Camacho there pulling into the pits, currently in 7th position. Also, Marco Saldana up in P4. Very nice. Marco here. In terms of results, let's see here, I should add those up already. Looking last week, of course, being Valencia, a track known for motorbike racing. We had Marco Saldana. He pulled home a P6 last time around, so bringing up a P4 in the qualifying, looking very strong this time. We're seeing a lot of strengths around for these drivers, and Kuna, I gotta say, Kuna da Silva, he has a 215 behind the wheel of that McLaren. I know it. The McLaren, now, let's be honest, everybody, I think this is going to be the elephant in the room that we will have to address at some point in time. The McLaren may be slightly better than some of the other cars here. But I actually should have asked, I don't know if Rocky is listening, if we use a BOP or not. I actually don't remember. We might use the BOP from... Ooh, that's a good question. If anyone knows in chat, if we use a BOP or not, I'd really like to know. That's actually something I'm unfamiliar with. I should know that, but don't. Marco Saldana bumped down to P5. Albert Tranghisi up into the ranks again. Albert, of course, a very rapid driver himself. A previous champion, in fact. We actually don't see Ricardo Rivera out there either. We had Ricardo Rivera join us last week for a little bit of a one-off, I suppose. And this time, not going to be out on the track, but nonetheless, do not fret, folks, because, well, we have, like I say, Albert Tranghisi and the likes. We have plenty of drivers in their spot, unfortunately. I'd love to see them back out, though. Vinicius has not quite been able to make up the time there to Kuna da Silva. 7/10 is quite the margin, and that could be the difference between the McLaren and the Ferrari, to be completely honest. Can pop on board with Doozy as he heads down the back area through Blanchiment. No, not Blanchiment. What am I talking about? Through Pouin, the other quick left-hander on the track, and into the Fangnes. Now, through Campus Corner, this is very tight and tricky heading into the Stavelos. Through the first Avalon into the second one here. We can see trying to use all the track to our advantage and get as much of the runoff. Honestly, could have been a little bit earlier on the throttle for Vinicius, if you're asking me. And the time also reflecting that, as it is going to be an improvement for Vinicius, but I do not think it's that 7/10 that he needs. Lovely sound as well of the Ferrari 296 flat out down the back bit of the track. Gets caught up with the Rockefeller Porsche. Gets a bit of a slipstream, in fact, through Blanchiment, and now on to the start-finish straight. Vinicius, though, 4/10 improvement, not enough to take pole position. Albert Tranghisi, the previous champion, has some, well, issues this time around in this championship, or some maybe some rivals, I should say, as we can take a look at the standings once. I'll just say them. I guess we don't really need to take a look at them. But Tranghisi, 1 point behind Vinicius Doozy, and I gotta say, once again, Vinicius Doozy joining the championship late, and with a race win in every single round that he has been in. Was a doubleheader at one point. He ended up finishing P4 in the second race. However, every other race he has been in has been a win for Vinicius. Can he keep that up tonight? I'm not too sure. I think Kuna da Silva is looking to take a win himself. The SOT team, very much dominant in terms of the championship standings. If we had a team standings that, well, was on the line, it would, I think it would be pretty dominant in that factor for the SOT, but that is beside the point. is looking at Marco Saldana. The checkered flag has fallen. Any driver to cross the line at this point will no longer be able to start a lap, but any driver that has will be able to finish it. Marco Saldana is one of those drivers that will be able to complete it. Also, up ahead, Cunha da Silva. He'll be actually the next one to come across the line, and he currently is on pole position. I don't think he has anything to worry about right now. From Fairphone BR91, supporting, I'm assuming, the BR in his name there, Brazil, in showing that national love. You absolutely love to see it. Marco Saldana will be up to the line soon as well. Gelson Cruz up next, though, currently sitting in P14. Very hesitant on the throttle into the bus stop, but slow is fast. And as he heads to the line, currently sitting in 14th, he's going to go all the way up to 10th with a 1 second improvement. Very nicely done from Gelson Cruz and the Rockefeller Racing 992. Up next will be Marco Saldana, 1/10 improvement. Is it going to gain him a position? No, of course not. Joey Raymer, 3/10 ahead. Fabiano Rousseau going to be looking to dethrone Gelson as well. As he heads to the line, what is it going to be? Fabiano Rousseau from P11 goes to P10. Gelson Cruz, all that hard work. Well, not, I was going to say for nothing, but it isn't. It's still, you know, P11. Just knocked out of the top 10. Danny Madreno up to P3. Oh my goodness. A barnstormer of a lap there at the end for, oh my goodness, the Rockefeller Racing guys to the line at the very end. I was going to say Patrick Dubois, potentially with a lovely one as well, but just beating out Michael Gravel. And in P16 for the Lamborghini. We head on now into the actual race session. As I said before, 75 minutes will be on the clock with 2 mandatory pit stops. The drivers will be needing to take fuel, but nothing more than that. They would presumably like to take tires, if I had to guess. Oh, thank you, Rocky, for, I'm assuming that's for me. 40 kg for the Macas. So there we go. They have ballast. And it's still, as a result, on pole position. That is, you know, BOP, call it as it is, less than ideal. But, hey, is what it is. Cunha da Silva on pole position. I think he could have done that in a 296, no doubt. Vinicius Duzzi behind in the 296. The SOT not able to beat his fellow sister car, but still 2.5 tenths off for the 12-year-old driver. Absolutely incredible. As we wait for the session to transfer over, have a quick little mention once again what these drivers are fighting for. Of course, they're fighting for $100 USD cash on the line. First position in the championship will walk away with that. And as well, of course, we have for the top 3 top-notch setup bundles, 3 of them for the podium finishers from Coach Dave Academy. Of course, a big thank you to Coach Dave Academy for providing those. Also, massive thank you to SimStaff for the sponsorship. You guys are awesome. And the session being very slow to change over, as it often is. Why don't we get a little calm tunes in the background? Of course, calming tunes here. Brought to you by Chris Laronde over on SoundCloud, if you guys are interested. Full permissions to be used here for me, of course. And there we are. The session transfers over. We can head on into it and meet our drivers that are all going to be fighting now for this. You can see the 2 next to the name. That means that they have 2 mandatory stops up in the top left. But as we have it, let's get in here and meet our drivers. Starting off in P1, it's going to be Cunha da Silva, the number 22 Spirit Onyx team driver in the McLaren Evo 2, bringing up pole position with his sister car Vinicius Duzzi in the Ferrari 296, the Brazilian team in the front row. Up next is going to be Daniel Majoreno in the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini with a barnstormer lap at the very end of the qualifying session. The number 6 driver going to be looking to take it to the front here with Albert Tranghisi company in P4 on row 2. The number 1 driver, previous season champion, going to be fighting it up as well with Joey Raymer behind in P5, the number 76 McLaren. Marco Sodana going to be 6th fastest on row 3, the number 111 Rockefeller Racing McLaren. And Jace Wright will be behind them in P7. Rocky Rocco in the Rockefeller Racing in P8, the number 647 in the Ferrari 296 with Anthony Macho Man Camacho in the Audi S&B Racing in P9. Rounding out our top 10 will be the SOT driver of Fabiano Rousseau, the Brazilian number 78, with Gelson Cruz in P11. Devin Smallblock Anthony going to be bringing up P12 in the Rockefeller Racing McLaren with Colin Sugg in P13. Jay Davis going to be 14th quickest, the American driver in the McLaren. Also, Fikri Azka, the Malay driver. My apologies, I've been saying Polish for the longest time. It is the opposite way around. The Malay driver in P15, number 74 of Fikri Azka. Patrick Dubois, going to be 16th quickest in the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini Dubois. The Canadian right in P16, not quite last. But last but not least is going to be in the Gravel Trap Racing Michael Gravel, the Canadian in P17. 17 cars all lined up on the grid. We have Gelson Cruz starting in the pits and a long outlap ahead of us, everyone. 4.3 miles here at Spa-Francorchamps and a whopping 1 kilometer straight. That's going to be about half a mile for the Americans, a little over half a mile, 0.65 here in the Kemmel Straight. Also, this track, of course, founded back in 1921. The current layout that we use, though, from 2022. And located in Francorchamps, Belgium. 19 corners, 9 to the right, 10 to the left. Plenty of corners for these drivers to pick up a track limits warning on, and we may see some drive-thrus by the end of this 75 minutes. It is up in the air, of course, with 17 drivers. Anything really can happen out there. Cunha da Silva with incredible pace in qualifying, looking to walk away at the start, I would imagine, break that slipstream from Vinicius. And Vinicius going to be trying to hold on from Daniel Majoreno. I do think, though, we may see some team orders at the start of this race. No battling between Vinicius and Cunha, I would predict, but I think all gloves are off at the start as, well, I think it's tough to tell any driver at the best of times that no team or no passing on the car in front of you because, well, quite frankly, that's what you're here to do. Be interested to hear from their team principal, Nato Flo, in chat if they are going to be fighting it out. Are they good? Is there team orders? Will they be battling at the start? Also, a massive obrigado. I probably butchered that, but thank you to all the Brazilians watching as well. Hope everyone is having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We have 75 minutes of racing ahead of us, and I could quite frankly not be more excited. A very, an alright diversity of manufacturers on the grid. Lots of Lamborghinis. There's lots of Lamborghinis, to be fair, but mostly McLarens, mostly Ferraris, a few Lamborghinis thrown in the mix, and then a handful of Porsches with your occasional AMG, Audi. Pretty standard, I would say. The Audi actually should be pretty strong here at Spa, I predict. So, predict big moves from Anthony Macho Man Camacho. Be interesting as well to see what Gelson Cruz has in the tank. He's starting in the pits. And Gelson's had some pretty good results throughout this championship, so Once again, we'll see where he ends up finishing, but he's going to have to deal with the pit lane here at Spa-Francorchamps, and this is the longest pit lane on the calendar. Taking a look at it. In terms of time, it is. In terms of time lost per lap, it isn't. But yes, 92 seconds will be spent in the pits for these drivers to take a tire change. And just to make a drive-through penalty, it will take slightly under a minute, 57 seconds. So drivers with 2 mandatory pit stops, a lot of their race will honestly just, in fact, 1 entire lap of the race will just be spent trundling down pit lane. The cars, though, they're getting ready. This is what they have been training for. Of course, we do not start here on the Formula 1 start-finish straight. We are going to end up going through Le Combe into the... Le Combe, that's not the right corner. La Source, however you say. I cannot say that one. The first corner, we will be bypassing it, heading down towards the Eau Rouge Radion complex, up to the Kemmel Straight immediately. So no big dive bombs, no heroics into turn 1 here. It'll be only heroics into turn 2. Now the drivers 2x2 Noah's Ark formation coming around the first corner now. Cunha da Silva on pole position. Vinicius Duzzi in P2. I'm Mike Nause in the booth as we get ready to go green for round 6 of the Friday night GT3 championship here at SFRGT Challenge. We are going to be approaching that total energy board and going green, green, green now, heading down to the first corner, and it's going to be a smashing start for both Brazilian drivers up at the front. In fact, all 4 drivers getting about equal, and Cunha da Silva takes the lead pretty handedly. All the drivers dip and tuck into the first corner. No surprises there. We see some drivers off into the runoff area, though, heading now down the Kemmel Straight. Joining back the Rockefeller Racing car, I think that was Marco Saldana, the McLaren, having a bit of a moment early on, but managing to regain composure. You see a look there from Jace Wright, the controller king, heading on to the inside of the first chicane. We see 3 wide from behind. I think that was Anthony Camacho, Macho Man Camacho, Fabiano Rousseau, as well as another driver getting involved in that. Looks like Anthony, did get off fairly well as well. Fabiano Rousseau not quite able to make the move. Anthony on the charge to Rocky in front here. This is going to be a battle for P8. Up at the front, Vinicius Duzzi trailing his teammate by about 3/10 as well. The number 25 driver has made no real attempts, it seems, on the position 1 at the start of this race. No surprises in that department. Albert Tranghisi, though, this is going to get dicey as we head side by side into Sector 3. Albert onto the outside. He should have disadvantage into the chicane, but Daniel Madrano, he needs to keep his composure here and not overdrive that car. You can see him running a bit wide. That's going to give the run to Albert Tranghisi as he just checks the outside line. Once again, isn't going to make anything of it. He wants his way onto the podium here. Now off through Sector 3, down towards the final few corners. Some of the most famous corners. Blanchiment into the bus stop chicane. The bus stop, we may see some moves attempted here. Going to be trying to line it up onto the outside. Albert has shown his eagerness for the outside line. Well, this is the corner to do it. In fact, it's the optimal line to do so. We see Danny Madrano. He goes deep, and that is going to allow Albert the run on him now. Side by side to the first corner, the outside line once again. Albert's going to have the disadvantage, but he needs to go late on the brakes. Looking at the braking marker, he does go late. Is it late enough? Tucks to the inside, potential switchback? No, sticks with it on the outside, but I think he is going to be too far behind to make anything happen. He's going to keep trying. We see all these drivers fanning through the first corner. Devin Smallblock Anthony on the inside, side by side with the Spirit Onyx team driver of Fabiano Rousseau, heading down to the Eau Rouge Radion complex. This can only end well, and it doesn't. Fabiano Rousseau gets tagged and has a big spin, tags the Lamborghini of, I think that was Patrick Dubois, with enough midair time for snacks. My goodness, Fabiano Rousseau is going to come to an immediate return to garage. That could be race ending for that driver. We see Daniel Madrano spun in the middle of the chicane as well. A few drivers, Joey Raymer getting off there's a chicane in the chicane, and that is never ideal. Can we go back and catch what happened here with Madrano? heading down the straight into Kemmel. We see Albert Tranghese behind. What is going to happen? Albert has a look onto the inside. Now going into the braking zone. We take way too much curb, bottom out there. Albert somehow manages to miss that. Unfortunately, the McLaren of Joey Raymer does get collected in that incident, loses a few positions, has a bit of a battering in the background with the Rockefeller Racing of, I think that was not Marco Saldana, I think that was Rocky Rocco. It's a little bit of some bumping and banging here early on. Fikri Azka, the Malay driver, also has made up some massive ground, up 6 positions, our biggest gainer here tonight, due to just patience alone in that Lamborghini. Amazing spectacles here, I do have to say, through this first lap, or through the second lap, I should say. The first lap was fairly clean. And Fairphone, you guys are doing a great job at the SFR League. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Obrigado, obrigado. Like I say, I'm probably making a fool of myself. I don't think that's how you say that, but that's how I'm gonna say it. And I do mean it. Devin Anthony making the push onto Fikri Azka. Fikri, who has been on a massive charge. We'll see if that comes to an end now. Devin in the McLaren will be trying to line him up on the Kemmel straight. Oof, Patrick Dubois struggling to make it back to pits after this lap. And it was most certainly very unfortunate there for Fabiano Rousseau, I do have to say. That car catching about a second of midair time. I said about enough time to be served wine, cheese, and dinner on his flight. So not quite what he was looking for in that department. But why did I go off that? Devin Anthony side by side with Fikri into the first chicane. Massive send from the AMG behind is going to be a little deep. Or are they early on the brakes? I think they were more early. Well, everyone kind of had a bit of an issue, I suppose. As well as some tussling up front from Marco Saldana and Jace Wright. This is not for the podium. This is for P4. Albert Tranghese did take the podium from Marco and has ran away by about 2.5 seconds so far. I guess one thing that I haven't mentioned, our leaders. Wait a second, hold on. Vinicius Duzzi is leading this race. How did that happen? Cunha da Silva's in P2. I missed that. I apologize, everybody. I just assumed that there were team orders going on and I shouldn't pay attention. I was clearly wrong. Vinicius taking the lead of this race here on lap 3 and walking away by about a second so far over his teammate. I know we have a lot of Doozy fans in chat, a lot of SOT fans as well. They'll be torn to cheer for the drivers, but I think we all know who the cheer is going to be going for currently. Jace trying to reel the car in front in, very slowly as well. As the controller king, now this driver, of course, he drives with a controller. We can pop on board and see the very wrist-breaking movement that otherwise would be inflicted on any driver with a racing wheel. Now, Jace Wright has made it clear, actually, that he will be getting a wheel at some point. So when he moves over to a racing wheel, I'm going to be absolutely terrified because Jace already lapping 2:18.5 in race pace, but in terms of his quali pace, we're seeing 2:17s. Well, I think we are going to be seeing some better results there with the wheel, but you never know. Is the controller Jace's thing? I find that hard to believe, but we'll see. What has happened to Cunha da Silva? Cunha is off and into the barrier in the first chicane. This has changed everything. He's chasing his teammate down now, coming into the chicane. Is he going to bottom out on that same corner that we saw earlier? No. Coming through the second part, the back end steps out. Very interesting. The McLaren just kind of loses it. Too much power on the curbs, and the rear end does not really agree with Cunha da Silva's input. That has had a massive impact here, putting him down to 12th position in terms of the race positions. And with 4.5 seconds to Jay Davis in front, that's a tough ask to get back up into the podium positions. Albert Tranghisi, though, and Marco Soldana, they're going to be smiling as they have both been promoted, as well as all of these drivers to boot. But I think those two onto the podium now, or rather Marco onto the podium. Very happy. Now we are just about 15 minutes, oh, we're just about 10 minutes, excuse me, into this race. 75 minutes, of course. Getting close to that 15-minute mark, though. And there's 2 mandatory pit stops, so it's very interesting to see when the drivers are going to pull the trigger and make the call to go into the pits. Will they go early or will they go late? Because I predict they're going to go in the middle, I think, regardless, is my prediction. Chad, I'd love to hear your input as well. If you guys have any thoughts on the strategy tonight, I'd love to hear it. But I'm thinking that we're going to see around the 45-minute mark some pit stops for that. Probably the change of tires. That's when I predict the drivers are going to be making the tire change. Jace Wright getting very eager here onto the Kemmel Straight also. But in terms of the first stop or the second stop, I'm not sure. It's really all up in the air. Jace Wright also on the outside here. Going to have the inside line on the second part of the chicane. A little bit of contact mid-corner. Marco Soldana is sent wide and round. Jace Wright now onto the podium, and wow! Oh my goodness, was that Rocky Rocco? Let's go back and watch that. Let's see if we can catch it from the perspective here. Oh, we unfortunately didn't, but we're going to catch Rocky Rocco's perspective as he comes up to a scene of a crime. And I even flinched on the replay, and I knew it was going to happen. Rocky, I think, come the pit stop phases, I think he's going to be opting for that earlier pit stop as a result of needing a new pair of trousers. Definitely testing the structural integrity of those at the moment. However, carrying on in P6, that will help him. Marco Soldana going to be into 8th. The stewards definitely going to have a look between what happened with Jace Wright and Marco Soldana. I didn't quite catch that. And yes, a Code Brown moment. There were skid marks left in multiple spots. I can assure you that. And CD Obrigado again, but I unfortunately do not speak Portuguese. I do commentate other leagues. I commentate Trackalicious. If you guys are interested, I'll pop some links here in a moment. But we actually, over on Trackalicious, have a GT3 league that has a Porsche Cup League as a support. Lots of Brazilians in that Porsche Cup League also, which is super awesome to see. But we have a Portuguese streamer, or a Brazilian streamer, I should say, but he speaks Portuguese. And there is a little redemption that when he is streaming, he can teach me a little bit of Portuguese. So actually, tonight, why don't we do my lessons? As we have Jace Wright heading down the Kemmel Straight now, we're going to be looking to approach these zebras very aggressively. You can see the out onto the outside, taking those zebras inside and out. There you go, my Portuguese and my Brazilian friends. That's all I got. I learned what curbs mean, and it's zebras. Zebras, I think. But as I said, in terms of Trackalicious, if you are interested, let me see if I can. No, I can't. Okay, well, both of those links work. I need to figure out how to iron that one out. Yeah, but that is me. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. And if you are interested, you can find me over there on Trackalicious for quite a few days of the week, as well as other platforms. I'm all over the place at this point. Oh my goodness! Big clattering from Marco Saldana and Devin Anthony. What has happened here? Taking a look at this from the helicam, we see Marco Saldana on the charge in Sector 3. We're coming through Puan right now. Lining up the overtake. The inside is open, but that was a very ambitious send. Now that will be a debate in the stewards, is did he leave enough room? Anthony, no, not Anthony Camacho. Why am I? Regardless, did the McLaren leave enough room, or did Marco force an issue there and make room where he otherwise wouldn't? Devin Anthony has been bumped down to P14 from that. Rosa, welcome. Leaving a like, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone currently watching as well as in the video for hitting that like button and subscribe button, as it is free. You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you all are having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning. And if not, I hope to brighten it a little bit here with some motor racing. We got 17 cars left on circuit. Fabiano Rousseau actually did rejoin. I really give credit there to Fabiano. It's really easy just to hang up the curtain and pack it up for next week, but Fabiano gonna stick it out to the very end, and that is quite admirable throughout the entire 75 minutes. Of course, for anyone curious, Fabiano, well, at one point he actually was mile high on a flight heading down towards the Danish countrysides. The Belgian. I meant to say Belgian countrysides. He was heading down. Sure, he was heading to Denmark. Why not? He was on a flight to somewhere. That's all I know. Why did I say Danish? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. To be fair, I've been saying that Fikriazka here has been Polish for, well, about a year. I think I've been watching their races for about a year. And, yeah, I had that flag flipped upside down in my brain for that time. There's honestly no excuse. I know the difference. Not the Monaco flag. No, this is the... Did I say Malay driver? It's the Indo. He's Indonesian. Oh, my goodness. I'm glad it's Friday, everybody. Hope everyone's looking forward to the weekend. Been a long week, clearly. We keep an eye on this battle between the Indonesian and the Brazilian driver. Now getting a little bit frisky. But Fikri is off, and that allows Cunha da Silva through fairly easily and to move on. Patrick Dubois with another off. Oh man, the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini's night has gone from bad to worse. Hopefully he can recover a bit more from this, but with the likes of Fabiano Rousseau actually approaching maybe soon, maybe they'll have a little bit of a battle. We'll see. As they head on to the start-finish straight now. Okay, there. Now the links are separated. Okay, now if you now can, you can click on those links and you can find my information. Or not mine, but Trackalicious. Rocky Rocco up into P6, has gained 2 positions from P8. Currently chasing the likes of Anthony Macho Man Camacho, who is up 4 positions himself. He's not going to give those up easily, but still, in this race, Fikriazka is our biggest gainer. 6 positions have been gained from the start, from P15, and that's quite the ask. Fikri needs to keep it between the mayo and the mustard at this point, and bring it home to the end, which is a long ways away, but needs to do it nonetheless. We'll see. If drivers are going to start pitting for their early stops, I feel they would do it sooner here than later, but I don't think they will. I think we'll be seeing them around the 45-minute mark come in, and then maybe around like the 20-minute mark come in. Go for a bit of a half fuel. That'd be interesting. I don't know. I'd be really interested to hear what you guys in chat have to say if anyone does have any theories for strategy, because a 2 pit stop race in 75 minutes is so odd that it just kind of, it really throws a monkey wrench into the equation, and everyone is going to be scratching their heads trying to figure out what to do. And that is going to make it extremely entertaining as well, especially here at Spa with a long pit stop. Tire wear not too much of a problem, and over 75 minutes, maybe the drivers don't opt for tires, as that is a 30-second difference in the stop time that you will see. So, could be worth just sticking it out on an old set of boots from start to finish and taking fuel both times you come into the pits. Maybe come in at the, call it 45 and the 30, 25, 45 and the 25. That might be reasonable. Just taking straight fuel. That might be what I do. That sounds like a reasonable strategy. We'll see what the drivers have to say, though. As Jelson Cruz has not made a pit stop. Patrick Dubois, interesting, has made both of his pit stops. So he's actually good to go to the end. In fact, I think both Fabiano Rousseau and Patrick Dubois have made their stops. No, Fabiano Rousseau has not. Okay, I apologize. Patrick Dubois has. That's interesting. So Patrick is good to go to the very end. However, he's 2 laps behind Michael Gravelle. Keeping an eye here on the Jelson Cruz, Danny Madrano, and Jay Davis going at it as well. These 3 cars have been in a bit of a tangle for a minute. Jay Davis seemingly going backwards. I'm not sure what's happening to that Nameless Racing, but that's 2 positions there very quickly. Rocky Rocco here in the number 64 or number 647, and Anthony Camacho. These 2 drivers definitely no strangers from each other. The SMB, I've seen them race in multiple leagues side by side, so this should be quite the fun bout that we're about to see. Rocky Rocco eager to make it up into that top 5. What does he have in store? Why don't we pop on board? Give an onboard view here as we plummet down the hill. We can see this uphill climb through the Eau Rouge Raidillon complex, which is an uphill straight the entirety of the way. Approaching the chicane at the end, you can see the top speed of the Ferrari is it's superb compared to the Audi. No doubt about that. But under braking and under acceleration in particular, that is where the Audi will shine. Through Lecombe into Malbandie, heading now down to Ravage. Bit of a moment for Rocky. Not quite the line that he was looking for. Onto the rumble strips, or the zebras. Little translation there. Struggling, it seems, to get the overtake, but fairly easy to keep up with Anthony Macho Man Camacho. See Daniel Madrano getting very eager for an overtake as well. You can see making looks into the final sector. Needs a good slipstream. The AMG, though, one of the cars as well, a strong suit in the straight line, so it's going to be tough for the Lamborghini to make a move. A big send, though, in Sector 3 is going to allow that inside line forced. Wide goes the AMG onto the marbles. Is that going to affect the traction? We see the Rockefeller Racing Porsche breathing down the diffuser as well. But no, it seems that nothing has happened just yet. Daniel Madrano on the outside. Gonna take it, though, once again. Can he get the favorable line coming under braking? We're gonna go 3 wide into the bus stop chicane. The Rockefeller Racing Porsche on the inside. Daniel Madrano on the outside. He should have the advantage, but the Rockefeller Racing Porsche takes it. Daniel Madrano spins, tags the AMG. That is going to send him off into the gravel, but luckily the AMG keeps control. Colin Sugg holds it. Jelson Cruz up a position as well, and Rocky Rocco has made his first pit stop. Big moments on lap 9 here tonight. Everything has pretty much shaken very quickly. That was a lovely move from Jelson Cruz. In fact, can we go back and watch that? We're going to go back a whole minute here and watch this scrap. As we're going to see going into the braking zone. Look at that. Such tight racing between the three, and the Porsche is just biding its time. It's waiting for its opportunity. Jelson has the look, he sees the gap, he sees the light, he goes for it, and the Porsche, strong under braking, makes the lunge. The AMG a bit hesitant as well, way too overeager on the throttle for Daniel Madrano, and the Rockefeller Racing Porsche walks away smiling. Devin Anthony has found a barrier, unfortunately, on the exit there of Rivage. Seemingly minor damage. As well, Jay Davis in the McLaren. The McLaren, a car that I would have expected to be quite strong here. Not leading the race. In fact, it's going to be a Ferrari, or pretty much a McLaren not really in sight for the lead of the race, at least anytime soon. Looking at the overall standings, we can see it's a Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, and that McLaren is quite a bit behind Jace. Well, Jace is in the pits, so we don't really know the delta. So we have our first round of stops coming at the 50-minute mark. So that must mean that the driver is going to stop around to the 20-minute mark for their second. We'll see. As this is where I wish I had a pit wall live to keep me in track when it comes to all of the positions gained and started here. We're going to have some real shakeups for a while. Of course, drivers going to be on alternate strategies, staying out a little bit longer, staying in or coming in early, and these are the first of our early stops. Colin Sugg had a little yellow flag there momentarily. Not sure what that was all about, but keeping it under control. Jay Davis behind in the number 8. Going to be trying to hunt him down. Is that a weakness for the AMG? Very well may be. And Jay going to try to pressure that. A bit further up, Cunha da Silva and Anthony Camacho. Now, Cunha at one point, well, not at one point, at the start of this race was leading. Qualified in P1. You can see there's some damage onto the side panel of that McLaren, and that is the result in why he is down here in P4. His teammate, Vinicius Duzzi, currently leading by a good margin, in fact. Albert Trangisi keeping up, but 11.5 seconds behind. Gotta say, it seems that the Brazilian driver just has a level of pace that not any other driver in this league can match. It's very, very impressive. Albert getting very close. He needs to, I guess practice a bit more, really, is what it comes down to, unfortunately. But that is how you get quicker. And our previous season champion, well, it's not looking... I was going to say it's not looking good at the moment. They're basically 1 point away. What am I talking about? And they're about to finish P1 and 2. Anything can happen in this championship. So, flash of the headlights there from Camacho. What does that mean? It means he's coming into the pits. Okay. A little bit of a heads up to Cunha. I'm not sure Cunha got the message. He may have. Naro, my friend, how's it going? That is Colin Sugg into the pits in the AMG. Vinicius Duzzi staying out for a longer period of time. Albert Tranghisi as well. Neither of these drivers are really in any threat. What is that? It's Fabiano Rousseau. He's taking a trip off into the grass, exploring what it would be like on a Belgian picnic. Fabiano Rousseau, P17, after, as I mentioned earlier, taking flight from a hit in the Eau Rouge Radeon, basically in the same way that Lando Norris had a moment, but not in the wet, and not with another car in contact, just the same area. And as a result of these pit stops that we're seeing, the cars are getting quite spread apart. Drivers that were in battles deciding to go for the undercut. So we will see these drivers resume their battles within a little bit here. Of course, 2 mandatory pit stops. I still have honestly no idea how the drivers are going to handle this strategy decision. Cunha da Silva, that will be the question as well. He has some damage to repair, so maybe sooner than later would be a good call for Cunha, but the other question is does he repair that damage? He very well could just hold on to it, not worry about it whatsoever, and, I mean, if it's not affecting your race, it's not affecting your race. Rousseau buying a lot in the grass. I heard the Belgian countryside's a lot cheaper in terms of real estate than up here in America, at least. But who knows? Colin Sugg out of the pits. And it's going to be just coming out ahead of Albert Tranghisi, who's a lap up. Well, gonna be a lap up if he makes it happen. Of course, being 4.3 miles ahead of your competitor is quite the advantage. Now, pit stops here are quite long. That's the thing to be said. And as we mentioned, no, Colin's like, let's see here. Did he take tires? I'm very interested. Yes, Colin took tires. Okay, so we are already seeing some varying strategies, everybody. And now this I did not expect. Drivers are already taking tires. We are 30 minutes into the race at the 45-minute mark, or 44-minute mark here. And after 30 minutes, drivers strapping on a new set of boots. Anthony Camacho is one of those drivers. Rocky Rocco decides for a new set. Fikri Azka as well. Colin Sugg, Michael Gravel, Patrick Dubois, and Fabiano Rousseau all opting for a new set of boots. Joey Raymer, he goes for just fuel. Now, the question is does he keep that up in the next pit stop? I predict he will. I think he will just go for no fuel and go strictly for track position. Now, this track, not the easiest track to defend on, to be completely honest. It is one of those ones where you can have, there's quite a few overtaking opportunities, and as a result, that's why a lot of drivers like the track. That's why a lot of fans like the track, is there's a lot of spectacles that happen here, and very big moments in both regards. What is the difference between Tranghisi and Duzzi? We're looking currently at 13 seconds from Tranghisi to Duzzi, and 17 seconds from Silva to Tranghisi. So Duzzi in a very comfortable position so far. So Marco Soldana opting for tires. Jay Davis doesn't opt for tires. Very interesting. As I said, these are some varied pit strategies, and will it come to bite these drivers in the butt a little bit later? I don't know. I don't know if anyone in chat has even driven a 2-pit stop race before at Spa-Francorchamps. I wonder if the drivers have practiced. I know I saw in chat, in fact, let's give a little shout out to whoever said it in chat. If I can find it. It'll take me a minute. But while we wait on that, we have, of course, the, I'm just trying to find it. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, unfortunately. But, anyways, the, practice your pit entries, everybody. And speaking of, well, not speaking of, Patrick Dubois, he is going to have to serve the long and arduous task of a drive-through penalty at Spa-Francorchamps. Was that for speeding in the pits? I'm not sure. Was it for track limits? Very well could have been. You have the nickname, the Golden Boy for Doozy. I like that. Vinicius, the Golden Boy Doozy. He's going to need a reflective livery for that, though, or a livery that... Nato, you got to make him a gold livery so he can show that off. Then he would really be the Golden Boy. But he hasn't won the championship yet. I would say, let's wait. If he takes the championship, I'd say that would be a good prize there. Well, of course, it's not the only prize that he would be receiving, of course. The winner of the championship will receive $100 USD cash, as well as all podium finishers receive a Coach Dave Academy's top-notch setup bundle. Thank you to Coach Dave for providing that and sponsoring this championship. Also, massive shout out as well to SimStaff for sponsoring us. If you guys are looking for, SimStaff is a global powerhouse for staffing solutions around the world, digital motorsports, sim racing, and esports. Whether your brand seeks short-term freelance professionals, full-time contracted experts, or top-tier technical support, they've got you covered. Head on over to SimStaff for any sort of event scheduling that you have regarding esports or racing in general, I think. But nonetheless, I think presumably esports, I think. I shouldn't say that, but presumably esports. So massive shout out to SimStaff for jumping on as well. Yes, Nato. You should, absolutely. I'd love to see that. Vinicius Golden Boy Doozy. Make it official, because he is truly a golden boy. This, I keep wanting to say this man. He is not a man. He is a boy. Vinicius, the 12-year-old driver, has done nothing but drop P1 after P1, and this time around doesn't qualify in first, but looking strong, 14.5 seconds ahead of Albert Tranghisi. Gunnar da Silva is going to come into the pits as well. This will be his first stop of the night. With some damage on that McLaren, we'll see if he takes the repair. And Jelson as well, he has one more stop to make. Pretty much all of these drivers down from position 3 all the way down to P15. In fact, actually all the way down to P16. So one driver is going to be good to the end. The rest have to make their second stop. And Spa, it's just one of those tracks. You really need to minimize your pit time. And when you have 2 mandatory pit stops, I gotta say, it can be a bit daunting for the drivers. You have to nail your pit stop. If you pick up a stop, go 30, or even a drive-through penalty, your race is essentially over. it's so hard to come back from. I mean, literally a stop-go 30 penalty will result in about 92 seconds stopped in the pits. That is roughly 67% of your lap. So the driver's going to be trying to manage that time loss. Also, when it comes to taking tires, that's why I predict the drivers are just going to run to the very end, as it's about a 26% difference in terms of lap time when it comes to coming into the pits and taking tires versus just coming into the pits and taking fuel. At least looking at the times that we have so far. So strategy, really what I'm trying to say is that was a very roundabout way of saying strategy's up in the air still. Nobody knows what's going to happen. As we have drivers taking tires, we have drivers not taking tires. We got drivers coming in, we have drivers not coming in. It really is a mystery. And Nato has Eau Rouge killed anyone today? Yes, unfortunately. In fact, Fabiano Rousseau was victim to that. In fact, I wonder if we can pull up a replay of that really quickly. Let's see if we can find... In fact, I think we'll pretty easily be able to find Fabiano Rousseau's lap here that he had a clattering of the wall with Eau Rouge. I'm in reverse. There we are. As we can get a nice aerial view of the battle that was unfolding. This is Devin Anthony. As we go side by side. This is Fabiano Rousseau and Devin Anthony going, like I say, side by side into the Eau Rouge Radion complex. We are going to have some clattering mid-corner. The SOT driver is going to go off and have a massive pirouette. Takes the Rockefeller Racing out with him. And as I mentioned in the moment, the steward's going to be having a look at that. Definitely no idea who is at fault. But with enough mid-air time for snacks, he was dispatched into the back of the grid. And yes, that was his best Beyblade impression. Vinicius Duzzi actually has made a pit stop earlier than I expected. 34 minutes into this race, or 34 minutes left into this race, 40 minutes through. He makes his first stop, I guess fairly apt timing, and decides that a new set of tires is a good idea. That has put him behind Gelson Cruz. Now, Gelson, I have no idea if he took tires or not because his stop time is glitched for some reason. But he is ahead. How many? Oh, wait, hold on. Does he have his... How many stops does he still have? He has 2. Okay, that's why. So Gelson has had a trip through the pit lane for some reason on my Delta, but doesn't show up, actually. So Vinicius still leading this race. Albert stays out another lap. Gonna be going long. Just gonna soak in a bit of the race lead. He hasn't been able to lead too much of these races, and I don't blame him, just wanting to take that P1 for a little bit and hold it. He will have to hand it back, though, to Vinicius at some point. Also, Jace Wright didn't take tires and is now 3 seconds behind Vinicius, so I'm really curious to see if this tire strategy pays off or not. We have a battle between Fikri Azka and Jay Davis, the Indonesian driver, and the American, having a scrap for P9. The YLab iRacing, last time around the track, a 220.5 compared to Jay Davis's 221.6, so an entire second separating the two. This should be fairly cut and dry. In fact, it is for Fikri Azka. Gets the job done. Jay Davis doesn't fight that too hard. Cunha da Silva, who at one point was leading this race, has resulted now into P13. Have they made both their stops? Yes, Kuna has made both his stops in very short succession of each other. Very interesting. So he has decided to get them out of the way early, drop himself into clean air, and he is going to be lapping now just all by himself. 30 seconds ahead will be Daniel Madrano. Interesting call. These strategies are wild, I do have to say. I have absolutely no idea what any of these drivers are going to do, and I have no idea what is going to work, and that is beautiful. I don't think anyone in this race knows what's going to work either. Vinicius taking tires. I don't agree with that strategy, but he's also Vinicius Doozy. Why would I disagree with him? He's literally won every race, so that clearly must be an alright strategy. Albert comes into the pits. We'll see what he opts for. Does he go opposite to Vinicius? Or does he stick it out on the, or stick a new set of boots on and match the strategy? A lot of these drivers in maintenance mode right now at this stage. Why don't we take a look at a livery? I haven't done that yet. Let's take a look at the Rockefeller Racing. This is, of course, Rocky Rocco from the Rockefeller Racing. An amazing livery, a FU Cancer, as well as the hashtag Stay Strong. Where does it say it on it? As well as anxiety and depression awareness. I think it's into the hashtag Stay Strong. I don't see it on this car. Is it not on this car? It doesn't look like it is. There's the FU Cancer, but I don't see the hashtag Stay Strong on this car. They have that on a few of their cars. Turn the stream off for 4 minutes. What happened to everyone's position? A strategy, Darnell. That's what you call strategy. Now, who is on the right strategy? I can't tell you because I have no idea. Albert is in the pits. Vinicius, he decided to pit earlier at the 35-minute mark and has taken tires. Drivers around him, Jace Wright, he did not take tires. And as a result, falling off the delta of Vinicius. Vinicius is going to be walking away on that new rubber. Albert opts for new tires, so he matches the strategy of Vinicius and has a 5-second slower pit stop as well. No, he doesn't. He has the exact same pit stop in terms of time into the pits and out, down to the 10th of a second. Now, those two drivers practice their pit entries, everybody. I feel like it was Joey Raymer that made the comment in Discord. I don't remember which channel it was set in, but... Too many... It's so confusing. Okay, anyways. Yeah. Been a good race so far. Bit of action here, bit of action there. Rocky Rocco, he's out of the pits and back out on track. No, he's not. That was a yellow flag for something else. Oh my! That most certainly was. That's not the optimal way to come onto the track. Well, I mean, it's rephrase that. That's the optimum way to come onto the track, not when you've already been on the track. And Nato asking, do I drive ACC? I used to drive ACC. I do not anymore. I don't drive anymore, unfortunately. Kind of did the whole commentary thing and, well, stuck with that instead. So instead of driving, I just talk about driving. You know? I'd rather watch the people do the hard work for me. But I used to do league racing. Back in the day. No, not really. I mean, I'm back in the day. Like 2 years ago. Jelson has come in for his first pit stop, his first pit stop that counts. I think that's his first pit stop in general, though. I don't know why ACC TV is telling me otherwise. Oh, he started in the pits. Oh, yeah. Jelson Cruz started in the pits. That's right. Sorry, Jelson, if you're watching this back. I completely forgot. That's why you have the one pit stop next to your name. That makes total sense. So Jelson, who actually started in the pits, has come out in P5. Looking strong for pace. And Anthony Macho Man Camacho in the S&B Racing. Now, is this a custom livery? Yes, I think it is. Oh, it most certainly, I think, is. Yeah, most certainly. It's a lovely livery. It looks really good. It's very clean. I love the, like, topographical layouts. Is that what this is? I guess that's kind of what it looks like. You can see that big old V10 in the back of that Audi as well. Naturally aspirated V10. Lovely car, the Audi, I do have to say. Now that's something that I need. I need a little cheat sheet for ACC cars and like the stats that they have. That's a great idea. Someone write that one down, and by someone I mean me. I'm gonna do that. Gotta love doing it live, everyone. We're down to 15 drivers. We started with 18, down 3 of them from the start. Fairly expected to lose a couple over an endurance race. You do hope, though, to see everybody making it through. Nato asking, does this league use the LFM BOP? Yes, I think it does. I'm 99% sure that it does. I know the McLaren has 40 kilos of ballast, so if that translates over to the LFM, then yes. In fact, we can probably look at that. From 1.9, of course. The BOP that LFM currently uses. While that's loading, we'll take a look as well. Jace Wright into the pits. Joey Raymer in third currently. Joey Raymer going to be trying to make up some points in that championship. Let's see. 40 kg specifically here on Spa. The McLaren is particularly strong at Spa-Francorchamps, and looking at the ballast, 33 kilos is for LFM. So I'm not sure. We very well may be using the 33. We might be using 40. I saw Rocky type in chat, though, that it's 40 for the McLaren. So I'm going off of the information that I have. Yeah, 40 kilos is quite a bit. But the McLaren is, let's just say it as it is. The McLaren's pretty strong here, in a straight line in particular. And by that, I mean it's a literal rocket ship in a class of its own. But does this league specifically use the LFM BOP? I'm not sure. It may use something very similar. Marco Saldana has caught up 2 seconds here to Anthony Camacho. Very doable from the stage of this race. Both drivers on fresh rubber as well. So the pace should be fairly even, and looking at the deltas, though, Marco Soldana about a second, actually 2 seconds quicker than Anthony Camacho last time around. So with that, if that continues, we will see those two drivers within bumper to bumper at the end of this lap. Saldana, though, in the Rockefeller Racing McLaren, and Anthony Camacho. Now, Fikri Azka into the pits here. Okay. So now, this is going to be their final stop for the night. So we now have our drivers making their final stops. Jace Wright has done so. We can take a look here at the overall tab on the left-hand side. You can see next to your favorite driver's name, a number 1 or a green plate. The number 1 means that they have 1 mandatory stop left to make, and the green, of course, means that they are green flagged to go to the end. With 20 minutes and 53 seconds left, it's basically a sprint race. So if drivers are going to be pitting, definitely will not be taking tires. Jace didn't take tires through the first time he pit, and he did the second time. So it does seem fairly consistent that each driver will be at least taking 1 set of tires tonight. Just depending on which stint they chose, it is the real difference. For example, Rocky Rocco, he decided to take his tires on the first stint and just fuel on his second. Or Devin Anthony, who we're currently looking at, same difference. And what has happened there? That was Marco Soldana getting by Anthony Camacho because Anthony has decided that he wants to make his final stop as well. Winding down the time, Vinicius Duzzi leading us away by 20 seconds to Albert Tranghisi. Quite the margin, if I do say so myself. Albert just heading into the Rivage complex, Vinicius into Pouan. The Golden Boy. Why don't we get a full onboard lap? We'll get a full onboard lap next time around. Assuming they don't come into the pits. Vinicius, knowing me, Vinicius is going to come into the pits this time around. And then I'm going to forget. Jay Davis with a bit of an issue there momentarily. I'm not sure what that was. Bit of a hiccup in the engine, it looked like. Manages to sort everything out. Big lift as well through Eau Rouge Radion. So not quite on the limit there is Jay Davis. We'll see if Vinicius is in a similar boat. Maybe just in that maintenance phase at this stage of the race. Could very well be. We'll pop on board here. And hear that Ferrari 296 roar. Now heading on to the start-finish straight. This lap was a 2:17.7. That's what we're going for here. Looking at the braking marker into the first corner, around that 75-ish mark, which isn't really there. Change in tarmac color is what you're looking for to the first corner. Now down the hill, heading towards the famous Eau Rouge Radion complex, where we see a massive change in elevation, roughly 103 meters of elevation throughout this entire track. Most of it happening right here. Heading on to the 1 kilometer straight, the Kemmel Straight. Just 0.65 miles long, heading down towards Lecombe. Looking for that braking marker at the change in curbage, or zebras, for the Brazilian viewers. Now attacking the inside, getting up onto the curb, lifts the car up momentarily, which kind of unsettles it, but you need to keep that balance to get the maximum amount of speed out of the corner. Now through Rivage into No Name. Fast, flowy sector coming up. Pouan, one of those corners where it's all about maximizing minimum speed. As you attack that corner at full chap, we're going to go down 2 gears and back up, short shift into 4th there for the traction. Now heading on towards the Fangnas. Bang is a very patient corner complex where you're just waiting to pick the throttle up the entire time and head down to the Stavelos. The first Stavelo, fairly easy in its approach. You're kind of missing the corner to set up for the second one. Now this one is the crucial exit. You're trying to carry as much speed, and that Vinicius does flat out all the way through the second Stavelo there on to the Paul-free straight, or not so straight. Now, Blanchiment flat out easily for these GT3 cars. And the bus stop chicane, the last corner to negotiate here for Vinicius. Chucks it in. Fairly conservative entry and exit. Doesn't quite use all the track on exit and isn't going to improve from his previous time, but still a lovely, lovely lap, a 2:17.5. That's enough to get you pole position in a pub lobby, no doubt. And Doozy clean in Eau Rouge, yeah. That was, I gotta say, that lap was super clean in general. What happened there? Jay Davis is going very slow. Something is wrong with Jay Davis's car. Daniel Madrano just blew by him like he was in a different class. Uh-oh. Devin Small Block Anthony has returned to the pits and entered chat. What's going on, Sharkbait? Unfortunately, didn't quite catch the incident that led you to your demise there. We saw the early one in the Eau Rouge Radion complex where you didn't quite come off that bad. With 25 laps complete here of Spa-Francorchamps, still 15 minutes and 58 seconds left to go. The 75-minute endurance race. The drivers will be feeling some fatigue at this point, at least maybe the more, not inexperienced drivers, but the less experienced drivers out there in terms of endurance racing. As 75 minutes is quite the toll. Of course, these drivers, though, throughout our league so far have had a various multitude of different forms, 30, 45, 60 minutes, and I think a 90-minute coming up. So if 75 minutes is too much, well, the drivers have something in store for them coming up. Why don't we take a look at that, in fact? You can see our calendar right here. Spa-Francorchamps is where we're at right now. Next week will be 90 minutes of Monza. Now that is going to be fun, and hopefully the drivers can manage to keep everything good. No heroics into the first chicane, of course. Been very clean so far, though. We also can take a look at our standings really quickly. Vinicius Doozy leading this race and leading the championship, looking to extend that lead as well. Currently in P1, looking to extend their P1 streak. Currently on 2 wins in a row, in fact, looking to make it a triple header, or 3-time crown. Albert Tranghisi trying his absolute best to fight and battle with the Golden Boy, but isn't quite able to make up that P1 that he's looking for. You can see he's had a few at the beginning, but once Vinicius joined, it's been nothing but P2s and 3s, and he had to miss one round, to be fair, here at Spa. Looking strong, but 20 seconds behind Vinicius. It'd take a bit of a miracle for anything to change there. Jelson also in P3. He is currently nowhere to be found in this top 12 for the championship, but Joey Raymer in P3, 1 or 2 points off of Albert Tranghisi. So 3 points separating the top 3. The margins really couldn't be tighter at this current stage, but Vinicius is going to be looking to drag that one out a little bit more. We also have Jace Wright, who's making a pretty good head in the championship himself. 4th position at 164 points. Be quite the ask to get him up into the podium, but it's still possible, and he will most certainly be doing that because, of course, the podium finishers, all of them receive a top-notch setup bundle to Coach Dave, the CDA bundle brought to you by Coach Dave. Thank you for sponsoring us, and $100 cash prize to first place as well. Also, of course, massive thank you to SimStaff for sponsoring us as well. SimStaff a global powerhouse for staffing solutions in the world of digital motorsports, sim racing, and esports. If you guys are looking to put on a event, they definitely are the people to go with. Have some amazing people over at SimStaff as well. Super nice guys. Amazing customer service is one of their things they say. I believe that because they're extremely responsive in general. Absolutely love SimStaff. Thank you guys so much. Now, one of the names that I was hoping to see out there was Ricardo Rivera. We saw Ricardo Rivera battling last week with Vinicius Duzzi, as well as Albert Tranghisi. It really gave Trango a fight, and I'm sure Trango is a little relieved to see Ricardo not out there this time, but most certainly going to be wanting to see him out there again. And yes, Nato, next week, first quarter at Monza. It's always, see, I always like to say, right, it's not the first chicane that's the problem, it's the second. Everybody is so cautious, and it's in league racing this is. Everyone's so cautious into the first chicane, you get to the second one, and then the gloves come off. Everybody is just wanting to go for it, and typically, I feel like the second chicane is where you see all the incidents. That's just my take on it, personally. Love to know if you guys feel the same. And a big thank you to everyone in chat. Big thanks to our Brazilian viewers also. Thank you guys so much. I know there's a language issue, and that's kind of why I try to slow my talking down a little bit. But you guys are amazing. And, I mean, just thank you. Thank you for being here, supporting your teammates as well. So a massive obrigado out to you guys. And you guys probably laugh every time I say that, and that's okay. I'll give that to you. So we saw earlier Joey Raymer pretty much give the position to Jace Wright. It seems that Joey Raymer has woken up from his slumber and back on the hammer. Is he going to make an overtake attempt? Probably not this time. 8/10 behind. Would be quite the ask. And Joey does gain about a couple tenths. So nothing to shake a stick at. Still going to be on that charge, on the challenge for that position. Big respect out to him. We have position change up at front due to the fact that Vinicius Duzzi has come into the pits. He's serving his final stop of the night. He's dropped down to P2 in the meantime. Albert Tranghisi will continue on for now. He still has one mandatory stop left to go. And Fair Fun, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's awesome. I hope you're all enjoying this broadcast and having a very nice night as well. I know it's a little late down there in Brazil at this point. I think approaching midnight, no? Depending on where you're at. So a little bit of a late night stream. Thank you guys so much. What was that? Marco Soldano with a bit of a short shift through Eau Rouge Radion. And Vinicius Duzzi rejoining in P4. Now both drivers in front, of course, or all three drivers in front need to make their one mandatory stop still. But with 7 minutes left, they need to get it done. They're running out of time. It takes quite a bit of time to make a pit stop. Are they trying to do it on the final lap? That might be. It's 3:20 a.m. in the UK. Well, my goodness, absolute trooper. I appreciate you sticking up and watching the stream. Absolute legend. and been around since the start. So, Darnell, absolutely, thank you. And it is midnight. Yeah, midnight in Brazil. The late one. But it's the weekend, of course. It's Friday, and I hope everyone has a safe weekend coming up. And also going to enjoy some Formula One action in America, potentially. Hopefully. No comment on that one, as I won't spoil anything Formula One-wise, but hopefully there's something to spoil. No, I think we'll be fine. We'll be fine, everybody. Marco Saldana has worked his way into the podiums quite well, in fact. He's up from where he started, if I'm not mistaken, up 3 positions. And Jelson Cruz up 6. They are going to need to make their... up 9, excuse me, is Jelson. Jelson started in the pits. He's going to be out in P5, I think, come pit stop time. Maybe P6, more than likely. Yeah, probably P6 or 7, actually. So, we'll see. And Nato also F1, yeah, I guess coming off the back of the Brazilian Grand Prix, yeah, you must be pretty happy to watch some more F1. I know there were quite a few, well, I know my fellow Brazilian commentator, Daniel Versosa, he was, well, having a very good time, we'll put it, with the Grand Prix. I think everybody was very excited down there in Brazil to see the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. That's one of the most incredible, I've always said it, I've said it every year, one of the most incredible Grand Prix in terms of atmospheres, especially you go back and watch the ones from like the 80s and the 90s where they have just these incredible spectacles and shows that they put on with dancing and elaborate routines and so much choreography and setup goes into the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Formula One. It's a testament to Brazil, really. Brazil always putting on some of the best motor racing shows out there, I have to say. And Nato Flow also, I should say, does that himself, putting out some amazing Brazilian sim racing. If you guys are interested, they run a platform there. What is my opinion on the Las Vegas Grand Prix? Woohoo! All right. Get the pitchforks out or... No. Well, I think it was fairly poorly planned, and that is quite evident so far. And hopefully we have a great rest of the weekend. It's been a good show for free practice too. I watched all of that. But I gotta say, kicking the fans out of the grandstands before motor racing can even happen, that's not that cool. And I don't think any of the fans are too thrilled with that. And the fans are the point of motor racing. I mean, that's literally, that's you guys for me right now. So, I kind of, that'd be like me shutting the stream off and saying, all right, guys, find out the results on SimGrid, basically, kind of thing. And, yeah. In terms of the track, it looks super fun to drive. Very close to the walls, very, very tight. It's driver's track, I gotta say. Qualifying is gonna be super fun. Lap 1, gonna be pretty fun, and the final lap, gonna be pretty fun. Everything in between that, I have no idea. And yes, Nato, the testament to a callback there to Lewis Hamilton's spin in the 2021 Grand Prix and bringing it back. That was such a Grand Prix. I gotta say, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I know Lewis Hamilton is technically not just a British driver. He's also a Brazilian driver. That's Fabiano Rousseau. Speaking of Brazilian drivers, parked off to the side of the road there. I think he's just allowing other drivers through, or has had a steering issue. I think there's actually some sort of issue there at play. But Yeah, that was, or was 2021, wait, which was 2021 Brazil? Was that when he started by himself? That was when he started on the grid by himself, wasn't it?
Give it a final push.
If I'm not mistaken, testing my Formula 1 knowledge. But that was... Or was that when he went... I know he won. I know Lewis won. You're going to have to remind me on that, Nato. Is that when he went off, or is that when he started by himself? That wasn't the British Grand... No. I'm confused. I'm severely confused. It's when he went off. Yes. Had one of the best weekends. An honorary Brazilian citizen is Lewis Hamilton. I gotta love that as well. Okay, Albert Tranghisi serving his pit stop on the final lap, or the penultimate lap. Same with Marco Saldana. Vinicius Duzzi is gonna walk himself back into the lead here. Was that the Grand Prix as well? That no, that was 22, wasn't it? No, it wasn't 22. That was maybe even 20. That Alexander Albon and Hamilton had contact. Albert Tranghisi out of the pits and in P2. And Marco Saldana is going to rejoin, looks like in 4th, 5th, maybe 6th. We'll see where Marco comes out. He's got a long ways to go down that pit lane before he rejoins the track. Vinicius, though, he's on his parade lap. Got a few more sectors to go. Or one more sector after this one to bring home the victory for the 3rd time in the row. A hat trick of wins for Vinicius tonight. Incredible stuff for the 12-year-old Spirit Onyx team number 25. The golden boy, as Nato has put it, and deservedly so. Just incredible, I have to say. Now entering Sector 3. We're going to ride on board with Vinicius for the rest of this one. You can see final lap to go. 31 laps have been complete. We're going to go the checkered flag on lap 32. Bit of a lull here in the middle of the race, but it's been a fun one. Appreciate all of you guys in chat. Thank you so much. Vinicius to the bus stop chicane. One last corner to negotiate before he takes his 3rd victory in a row. The hat trick of wins for the Brazilian Spirit Onyx team driver, number 25, Vinicius Duzzi, comes across the line and takes the win. Albert Tranghisi will be 20 seconds behind. Close but no cigar. Albert going to be trying it next time around at Monza. We'll see what he can do. But I gotta say, the golden boy, Vinicius Duzzi, is on a tear. And yes, indeed, Nato, thank you so much. Jace Wright also going to be heading his way onto the podium. Nicely done for the Controller King, Jace Wright. The Fuchsia Competition Lamborghini. P3, the number 24. P4 goes to Joey Raymer. Cunha da Silva will bring home 5th, with Jelson Cruz in 6th. Jelson starting in the pit lane, gaining 5 positions to the end. Not gaining 5 positions, gaining 5 because he started in P11, but he started in the pits. And gaining all of the positions to P6. Marco Saldana behind in 7th. Anthony Macho Man Camacho will be coming to the line in 8th, with Rocky Rocco and the Rockefeller Racing in 9th. And Daniel Madrano going to be bringing up the top 10. Michael Gravel, 11th, and Devin Smallblock Anthony in 12th, with Fabiano Rousseau, last but not least, the Brazilian Spirit Onyx team driver, taken out early. And very unfortunate end to the race for them. But his teammate takes the win tonight, the Brazilian, with an incredible result at that. What a race it's been. The drivers have all parked it up for the night. as will I for this stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, I am Mike Nause in the booth. Next week, we'll take a look at our calendar really quick before we head on out, of course. We will be over at Monza, and that's not next week, is it? That's going to be the week after, if I'm not mistaken, because we have an off week. But, as I take a look at it, let's see. Yes, December 1st. Yes, we have an off week, so not next week. We have 2 weeks. I apologize, everyone. 2 weeks away for the next race over at Monza. Make sure you guys are there for that. Of course, as I said, I am Mike Nause in the booth. It's been quite the race tonight. Hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.